The world trembled in the dead of night. From isolated runways to fortified airbases, the shriek of red alert sirens tore through the darkness, slicing the silence like a blade. Pilots sprinted to their war machines, the F-15 Strike Eagles, the very embodiment of American fury, gleaming under emergency lights, engines already howling like chained beasts desperate to be unleashed. Then, with a thunderous roar that shook the earth itself, they took to the skies, wings loaded heavy with lethal intent. Beneath them, black smoke spiraled higher and higher, a grim omen of what was to come. The air quivered. Ground crews scrambled for cover as wave after wave of F-15s ripped into the night sky, climbing, diving, accelerating into a coordinated symphony of destruction. This wasn't just a mission. It was a reckoning, a ferocious, calculated retaliation delivered with merciless precision. In mere moments, total chaos would be unleashed on Houthi strongholds, fuel ports, ammunition depots, logistics hubs, targets marked for annihilation under the cold gaze of infrared sensors and satellite command. You are not witnessing a drill. You are not watching a simulation. You are standing at the edge of history, where fire and steel rewrite the rules of engagement in an instant. Brace yourself. The strike has begun, and the aftermath will shock the world. For months, the Red Sea simmered like a boiling cauldron, tension swirling thicker by the day. The Houthi forces, fueled by boldness and blood, unleashed a relentless barrage on the arteries of global trade. Merchant vessels battered, cargo ships crippled, and vital lifelines thrown into chaos. Warnings thundered across the international stage, ultimatums drawn like blades. Yet, the attacks continued, each missile a spit in the face of restraint. And then, the final spark, a missile arcing like a fiery dagger, sliced toward a US naval ship. The world held its breath, and when the smoke cleared, patience lay in ruins. The response? Immediate, uncompromising, unforgiving. Within 15 minutes, the sleeping giant roared awake. Under the strobing glare of emergency lights, pilots sprinted across the tarmac, helmets clutched, adrenaline flooding their veins. Boots hammered against the concrete like war drums. Every second was a countdown to retaliation. Commands crackled through radios. Weapons crews scrambled like storm winds, fueling and arming the waiting F-15s. Magnificent beasts thirsting for vengeance. Engines shrieked to life, turbines screaming against the silence of indecision. In that electric moment, one truth was burned into history. There would be no hesitation, no warning shots, only overwhelming, devastating force. The night sky morphed into a battlefield long before the first bomb fell. Beneath a blanket of darkness, the airbase came alive, a mechanical symphony of motion and fury. F-15 Strike Eagles, the apex predators of American air dominance, taxied into position, their sleek frames glinting under the blood-red glow of emergency lights. Their engines snarled like caged beasts, afterburners igniting with a violent blast of searing blue flame, scorching the tarmac and setting the night ablaze. One by one, they hurtled down the runways, wheels hammering the concrete, then lifting free in a roar that shook the desert sands. From Saudi Arabian bases to carrier decks prowling hostile waters, the Strike Eagles clawed their way into the heavens, carrying with them a payload forged for devastation. Flight paths locked, targets confirmed, coordinates burned into every pilot's mind like commandments from on high. Inside the cockpits, the world became a grid of green-tinted kill zones, fuel depots, munitions stockpiles, strategic command hubs, each marked for obliteration with the cold, clinical precision of seasoned warriors. Every training sortie, every war game, every late-night briefing, it all narrowed down to this moment, this mission, when theory became action and hesitation meant death. This wasn't a show of strength. This was a message carved into the night sky in fire and steel. At precisely 0200 hours, all hell broke loose. The heavens themselves seemed to rip apart as the first wave of missiles screamed downward with deadly purpose. Infrared footage captured the carnage in ghostly clarity, brilliant streaks of light tearing through the darkness moments before impact. First strike, direct hit. A thunderous eruption engulfed the main port refinery, a towering inferno clawing hundreds of feet into the air, casting the entire coastline into a surreal, blinding daylight. The ground shook. Shockwaves ripped outward, windows shattered miles away. Second strike, the fuel storage depots, a rolling fireball, monstrous, relentless, surged across the landscape, black smoke vomiting into the heavens, blotting out the stars. On the ground, chaos reigned. Houthi fighters caught naked under the onslaught, scattered like ants from a burning nest. Their anti-air defenses, rusty and slow, could do nothing but watch as the F-15s sliced through the skies like avenging phantoms. Entire supply lines vaporized in a single heartbeat. Ammunition stockpiles incinerated without mercy. Months of stockpiling, fueling, arming, erased from existence in minutes. This wasn't just a strike. It was annihilation, delivered at the speed of sound. And when the sun finally clawed its way over the horizon, the horror could no longer hide in the shadows. From high above, the drone's unblinking eye captured a scene of utter ruin. Oil ports, once sprawling and alive, now reduced to smoldering skeletons of twisted metal and shattered dreams. Entire sections of the sprawling port, obliterated without a trace. Fuel tanks that once fed the engines of war, now collapsed in on themselves, charred husks seeping poison into the scorched earth. Supply lines, the arteries of conflict, clogged with rubble, broken pipelines, and fire still licking hungrily at the ruins. The financial cost, catastrophic, tens of millions lost in mere moments. But the true price was far greater. A blow to the spirit, a shattering of confidence, a loud, brutal reminder that recklessness has a cost, and sometimes that cost is everything. Panic rippled like a shockwave through Houthi leadership. Official broadcasts spoke of resilience, of defiance. But behind closed doors, fear gnawed at every word, every glance. The Houthis, who once taunted the world, now stood humbled. Because when you provoke a sleeping giant, the ground itself trembles beneath your feet. Shockwaves rippled across the planet before the fires had even cooled. From Washington to Moscow, from Riyadh to Beijing, the world jolted awake to the reality unfolding in the Red Sea. News outlets scrambled to keep up, headlines blaring in frantic succession. Some hailed the strike as long overdue justice, a decisive blow against unchecked aggression. Others decried it as a dangerous escalation, a match tossed into a room soaked with gasoline. Markets trembled under the weight of uncertainty. Oil prices surged like a runaway freight train, sending shock and panic through trading floors around the globe. Behind closed doors, diplomats moved with desperate urgency, whispers of retaliation, calls for restraint, back-channel negotiations sparking through the midnight hours. In the streets, protests ignited, furious cries of anger and solidarity intertwining across continents. In the studios, analysts debated feverishly. Was this a justified strike, or the first domino in a far greater catastrophe? But when the smoke cleared and the shouting faded, one truth stood taller than all the noise. America had drawn a line, and they drew it not in ink nor in diplomacy. They drew it in fire. The first rays of dawn stretched across the horizon as the F-15s streaked home, silhouettes of power slicing through the golden morning sky. Battle-worn but unbroken, they carried more than just the scars of combat. They carried a message, seared across the heavens for all the world to see. Deterrence is not a whisper. It is not a polite warning, nor a cautious suggestion. It is a roar, thunderous, undeniable, one that demands to be heard by friend and foe alike. As wheels touched down and canopies lifted, the weight of what they had accomplished settled over the airbase like a sacred vow. They hadn't sought war. They hadn't craved destruction. But when the line was crossed, when provocation became threat, they rose with a fury only the righteous can summon. And in that decisive moment, even the boldest adversaries learned the cost of testing American resolve. This is the new reality. Strength is the guardian of peace, and readiness is the only shield against chaos. If you believe in strength, if you believe in resilience, if you believe that peace must be defended, hit that like button. Subscribe to Eagle Takedown, because in a world teetering on the edge, truth moves at max speed, and we're flying right behind it.